you please call the roll?
Delariva.
Here.
Brumback.
Here.
Fund. Here. Sanderson.
Here.
Patey.
Here.
Ahart.
Here.
Proctor. Here. Dorado.
Here.
Bertles.
Here. I would like to welcome our guests and our visitors to tonight's board meeting, and at this time I ask all to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let's get rid of chair squeak. Yeah. At this time, I will entertain a motion to approve the October 20... That's not correct, I'm sorry. I would like to approve the March 24th, 2024 agenda as it has been presented this evening.
Move to approve.
Second. And any discussion? Please call the roll.
Fund. Yes. Sanderson.
Yes.
Delariva.
Yes.
Brumback.
Yes.
Patey.
Yes.
Ahart.
Yes.
Bertles.
Yes. I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the board's executive closed special session meeting held on February 24th, 2025.
Move for approval. Second.
And questions or discussion? Please call the roll.
Brumback. Yes. Fund. Yes. Delariva.
Yes.
Sanderson.
Yes.
Patey.
Yes.
Ahart.
Yes.
Bertles.
Yes. I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the board's executive closed special session meeting held on March 10th, 2025.
Move for approval. Second.
And questions, discussion? Please call the roll.
Sanderson.
Yes.
Delariva.
Yes.
Brumback.
Yes.
Fund. Yes. Patey.
Yes.
Ahart.
Yes.
Bertles.
Yes. I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the board's executive closed special session meeting held on March 13th, 2025.
Move for approval.
Second.
And questions, discussion? Please call the roll.
Sorry, I had a delay.
Yes.
Sanderson.
Yes.
Fund. Yes. Delariva.
Yes.
Brumback. Yes. Patey.
Yes.
Ahart.
Yes.
Bertles.
Yes. And we will move on to our reports. Dr. Shelton, will you please provide your superintendent's report?
Thank you. Good evening and welcome everybody, and thank you for attending. First, I would like to begin by welcoming Therese Marinelli, the incoming principal at Goshen Elementary School. I think Therese is somewhere maybe, oh, there she is, way back in the corner up there. So thank you for giving her a warm District 7 welcome. Therese is visiting District 7 on her spring break this week as she transitions from Windsor Elementary in the Harlem School District way up north, and we're excited for her to spend spring break with us and be down south for spring break, as we would say in Illinois. Last week we held the most recent District 7 discussion group to get feedback on a potential change in start times, transportation, and the high school instructional day. The next discussion group will be held on Friday, April the 25th at 10 a.m. And if you would like to secure a spot and RSVP for that, please contact Carrie Francis to my right at 618-656-1182. The Illinois 5 Essential Survey is currently open, and you have 4 more days to complete the survey for your school. Proud to say we have a district response rate of 41% right now from parents. Each school has achieved the 20% minimum required to receive that report, and each school has increased their response rate from the spring 2024 survey. The overall student response rate is 94%, great job students, and the overall teacher response rate is 85% district-wide. Our principals have done a fantastic job communicating and facilitating getting the survey completed, so thank you to our teachers, our building leaders for getting that done, and thank you to our parents for providing feedback. The goal for parent survey participation is 50% for each of our schools, and I know we have a couple of schools that have accomplished that, so nice job, and that survey window closes on March 28th, 2025. I received a lot of feedback on the potential change in start times, transportation, and the 7 period at the high school. And while it is on tonight's agenda, I wanted to share a little bit of additional information that I've collected over the past couple of weeks. I've been doing some research into the change in start times and have spoken with several districts who have implemented such a change in the last several years. In my discussions, I've learned several things that have helped emphasize the importance and the impact that a decision like this has on a community. But at the same time, each discussion with other districts has ended with positive outcomes for that district, and sometimes in as early as the first week of school. All of this helps me lead to an understanding of why we want to make such a change and know what we want to do, but the work that still remains is how that works in District 7. When we get to the agenda item later this evening, I'll be sharing more about how we plan to develop action teams to focus on areas of major change, including athletics and Kids Zone, just to name a couple, as well as some plans to hold informational Q&A sessions this fall to continue to update our community and listen to the impact of this change on stakeholder groups in District 7. Plans for summer construction continue, and it's going to be a busy summer in District 7. We have construction projects taking place at Columbus, Glen Carbon, Hamel, LeClaire, Nelson, Woodland, Lincoln, and the high school, with some minor projects also taking place at Liberty. However, we do have a light at the end of the tunnel as the 60,000 square foot addition at Lincoln Middle School is nearing completion. We've planned a community open house for Sunday, August the 31st at 2 p.m., which is the 100th anniversary of the open house that took place at was then the new Edwardsville High School on August the 31st, 1925. There will also be a ribbon cutting on Thursday, August the 14th before mascot welcomes on Friday, August 15th. I also want to take an opportunity to address the release of 16 probationary or first and second year teachers that was announced on Friday. Part of the district's annual process is to evaluate the status of probationary teachers. Decisions like this are not taken lightly, and we above everyone else understand the impact that this has on the teachers that we've invested in, both as people and professionals, nor does it reflect the value that they have in our school communities. The positions of some of the teachers who are being released will be replaced with either existing or new employees. As a reminder, all school districts go through the process of evaluating new employees and must issue notices of dismissal by the date specified in Illinois School Code, which is April 15th. At the same time, we have to be responsive to maintaining the balance in our education fund, as well as our other funds, be responsive to shifts and changes in enrollment, and operate in a fiscally responsible way. District 7 is financially healthy today, and we need to ensure that we continue to maintain that financial health. We anticipate that we will experience additional resignations due to relocations, family circumstances, and other factors, and as that occurs, we will provide positions for a number of the teachers who are being released. There are the groups of employees that are impacted that are not part of tonight's resolution. As a result of teacher releases, resignations, and retirements, additional staff, including staff who provide administrative support, instructional coaches, and school support staff, will be reassigned. Finally, we're continuously evaluating how we spend and looking for ways to be fiscally efficient in how we operate, including anticipated reductions in efficiencies in curriculum software and district software and licenses. Above all, we are committed to providing the resources necessary for our students, our teachers, and our schools. Last but not least, some notes on the calendar. IAR testing will begin this week at our middle schools and will begin next week in our 3 through 5 buildings. And in addition, we have ACT testing at the high school tomorrow, which may explain why Josie may duck out a little bit early if we get to that point. I can't emphasize how important it is for our students to be in attendance every day, but especially for those days of state testing. Spring break begins after school on Friday, April the 11th, and school will resume after spring break on Tuesday, April the 22nd. The last topic I have, which also may be on our board president's topic of discussions, is to establish a date for the reorganization of the board following the upcoming election. Within 21 days following the consolidated election, the district will receive certification of the vote from the county clerk, which is the official notification to the district of the election winners. The board must then seat its new members within 40 days of the consolidated election. So with that being said, we have a couple different options for organizational meeting, and this is where we open it up for discussion for the board. We have Thursday, April the 24th, we do a finance committee meeting scheduled that afternoon, evening. That is 2 days after certification, so if there's any delay in certification, that could end up being a conflict of a date. We have a regularly scheduled board meeting on Monday, April the 28th, where we could do reorganization on that day. And we have Monday, May the 5th, which would also be just a general Mondays, which are usually free on board calendars. And then I'm open to other dates, but those are 3 that we set aside as possibilities.
So as far as board members are concerned, so Dr. Shelton has suggested those 3 dates. And does anyone have an opinion about what is preferred on their calendars? We've got Monday, April 28th, or Monday, May 5th, or it could happen on Thursday, April 24th, depending on when we get the official results from the county.
My vote is for April 28th, since it's already on my calendar to be here. So for me, that works.
Okay. Anybody else have any comments?
Lynn's checking her calendar, it looks like.
So what we typically have done is we've done a reorganization before the executive session, if we do it on the night of the regular board meeting. So we would have our reorganization meeting at 4:30 or 4:45, and we would need a quorum of this board there to approve minutes, do the reorganization. We would seat new board members, and then the new board would take the rest of the meeting.
The 24th, there's an equity advisory committee.
Also in addition to finance committee. Okay.
So would
28th.
April the 28th, Lynn, be, and everyone else shake their head, yes or no?
Yes.
Terry, Jennifer? April the 28th?
I'm open to either one.
Okay.
Um,
So it will be decided that please add that to the calendar on April the 28th. And at this time, our junior rep, Josie Proctor, would you please give your representative report?
Thank you. Glen Carbon Elementary is heading to Busch Stadium April 27th, where kindergartners, first graders, and second graders will be singing the national anthem. The LeClaire Second Grade Fine Arts Showcase hosted at Cassens Elementary is coming up on April 9th at 6 p.m. with a concert at 6:30. LeClaire Family Night at Busch Stadium is May 2nd. If LeClaire sells 350 or more tickets, current LeClaire students will have the opportunity to sing God Bless America on the field before the game. Now on to the polar plunge. Cassens ended Respect Week with their polar plunge, which they raised nearly $3,000 for Special Olympics. Columbus also participated in their polar plunge, where they raised over $1,200 for the Special Olympics. Woodland Polar Plunge was a huge success, raising $3,200. Warden raised over $1,500, and Liberty raised over $1,400. Thank you for everyone who supported this amazing cause, and thank you to everyone who participated. Woodland 5th graders recently took an exciting trip to the Federal Reserve Economy Museum. They learned how money moves through the economy, learned about the history of banking, and got a close-up look at the world of finance. Liberty 8th graders had the opportunity to visit the Holocaust Museum in St. Louis. This trip gave students a chance to view the Holocaust through the eyes of St. Louis survivors and learn more about its history. Hamel's second grade Fine Arts Showcase will be on April 2nd and Midway's on April 1st. Hamel and Midway second graders will perform some musical pieces, and then we'll be able to show off some art pieces they created in art class. Tiger Town Consortium is coming up on Saturday, March 29th at 7 p.m. This will feature District 7 orchestra students from Woodland, Warden, Cassens, Columbus, Liberty, Lincoln, and Edwardsville High School. Lastly, congratulations to our Students of the Month, kindergartner at LeClaire, Samir Jamot, and fourth grader from Warden, Maria Bloom.
And at this time, Amelia Gerardo, our senior student rep, would you please give your report?
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. While September is designated as National Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, in which we wear gold, several events in March 2025 are dedicated to raising awareness and funds for pediatric cancer. Pediatric cancer refers to cancers that occur in children and adolescents, typically under the age of 18. And unlike adult cancers, pediatric cancers often arise from genetic mutations rather than lifestyle or environmental factors. They tend to develop in different parts of the body and respond differently to treatments. Common types include leukemia, neuroblastoma, and retinoblastoma. Awareness days like these help us to become more knowledgeable and make efforts to fund research. Congrats to girls soccer with their 4-0 win against Triad, and good luck against O'Fallon in Naperville this coming week. Congrats to Frisbee on their win and placing 4th in Tennessee this past weekend. Congrats to girls lacrosse on their win against Belleville West and East with a score of 6-4. The Edwardsville High School Interact Club hosted their annual Letters of Hope event to benefit the African Vision of Hope organization. Students gathered during 6th hour for a presentation from guest speaker Matilyn Carrillo from African Vision of Hope while playing trivia and writing letters of hope and inspiration to students of the African Vision of Hope schools in Zambia. The letters will be hand-delivered by AVOH staff to the students. The event successfully raised $1,000 to provide new bedding to the students in the rescue homes. Save the date for the NHS spring event next Saturday, March 29th. Students have been working hard to make this event unique and fun. Feel free to bring kids and let the NHS students take care of the rest. Hearty congratulations to Veda Kumanini on winning the Coca-Cola Scholarship for her contributions to EHS Care Closet and the Edwardsville community. The EHS chamber singers Bel Canto and Aka Filaz joined the SIUE choirs on Tuesday on the SIUE campus for a combined choral concert. EHS Orchestra Chamber Strings performed the Edwardsville City Forecast Breakfast at the Outlet. Fabulous job to Sean Morgan, Rhea Romano, Ian Cho, Annabella Diavilla, Lila Hahn. Medical occupation students completed at the first annual CTE showcase with schools from Madison and St. Clair counties at SWIC. All 5 EHS students placed in their events. CPR first aid was first place to Lila Bubb and third to Sophia McGillis. Hand washing and gloving first to Katie Jarman, which was a perfect score. Vital signs first place to Morgan Simmons and third to Lucy McRae. Congratulations to our Business Professionals of America students for a successful win at state. Maddie Bash placed 5th in Ethics and Professionalism, Audrey received top 5 in Open Events, and Amelia Gerada, Emma Birkenmeyer, and Sid Gerada placed 6th in Video Production. EHS had 14 medical occupation students that qualified for state, held in March 14th through 17th in Springfield. There were 53 hosted chapters represented at state with a total of 1,629 competitors in 59 different events. The team of Leela Bubb and Sophia got first, and Aurora with top 10. Addison Moore, Jasmine Hayes, Samantha, Elizabeth Stram, Dia were in the top 10 in public service announcement. EHS has once again earned national recognition for its commitment to inclusion, being named a Unified Champion Banner School by Special Olympics Illinois. This honor recognizes schools that demonstrate a dedication to creating an inclusive environment through athletics, leadership opportunities, and whole school engagement. Congratulations to the Edwardsville High School baseball on their win against Juliet Catholic with a score of 5-4. And good luck to boys track this weekend at Indoor State. And that's a wrap with all the month's updates.
It's been a lot of busy students. Thank you both for your reports. At this time, does any board member have a report to share?
I have the Illinois Association of School Board updates for March. With elections coming up on April 1st, now is the time to think about the onboarding process for new board members. This can include an onboarding plan to familiarize newly elected members with the district and their role as a new board member. And of course, IASB is always available if we have any questions. Also, after the April elections, the division governing meeting will take place. During a year after any election, division officers are voted on, and every member is eligible to run for one of the 4 positions if they're interested. So I encourage anybody to run for that. Patrick Allen will send out more information after this in the coming months. But if you're interested in the positions, it can be director, chair, vice chair, or resolutions chair for our division, please email him and let him know.
Thank you. Any other board reports? At this time, we are entering the section of the meeting where we recognize special guests, students who have excelled, and provide the opportunity for visitors to address the board. Following this section, we will take a short recess to allow any individuals who wish to leave to do so prior to the remainder of the meeting. And at this time, I would like to introduce Dana Bivens, principal of Warden Elementary, and
Dr. Shelton, Board of Education, and guests, my name is Dana Bivens, and I am honored to be here this evening with my friend Maria. She is one of the 4th grade students in Mrs. Gassett's classroom at Warden Elementary, and she is what exemplifies a Warden Star. She makes safe choices, she is a high achiever, and is responsible, but what sets her apart and makes her shine the brightest is her thoughtfulness. She's a friend to all, and we're so happy to have her be a part of our Warden family. Congratulations.
And here is Donnie Gunter. Let me do your introduction, please. Principal at LeClaire Elementary, who will recognize his student for the month of February.
Come on, Samir. Don't make me stand up here by myself. Give it up for my friend Samir, please. So I brought some notes too. My friend Samir is a kindergartner at LeClaire Elementary, and I want to spend just a couple of minutes bragging on him. As you can see, is he smiling ear to ear yet or not? Okay, so this is why I chose this view of him, because I get the blessing of seeing it every single day, and I wanted you to see it tonight. So my friend Samir, Dr. Shelton, Board of Education, thank you for giving us the opportunity to recognize my friend Samir Jemmett tonight. He, if you can't tell, is pure sunshine. He is kind, he's compassionate, and he is indeed a LeClaire leopard. Samir is quick to check in with those who have been sick in the classroom to see if they've been feeling okay and if they're feeling better. He makes sure that his class sings "We Wish You Well" each day, that someone, I know everybody, aww, that's right. Each day someone is out, or he does cheer "Hip hip hooray, we're all here today," when all students are present. He is proud of his classroom family, his Octagon family, and his LeClaire Elementary family. Samir enjoys learning to read, and he enjoys spelling. He enjoys playing soccer outside at recess and showing just how fast he is. Samir also loves his teacher, Miss Starbuck. See her back there? Wave, Miss Starbuck. And all the other students in his class. As you can clearly tell, Samir is simply amazing. We're thankful to have him as a student at LeClaire Elementary. Give it up for my friend Samir.
Bring Samir down.
He needs pictures.
You need Samir too.
Yeah, they are. And they're just like, they're leaders.
At this time, I would like to introduce Amy Piscolo, Athletic Director at Edwardsville High School, to recognize the National High School Coaches Hall of Fame inductee for 2024.
Good evening. Tonight, I'm proud to be here with you to recognize Coach Tim Funkhauser. Coach Tim Funkhauser began his coaching career in Edwardsville in 1988. And over the years, he's built an extraordinary legacy. Under his leadership, the Tigers have earned 12 Southwestern Conference championships, 18 regional championships, 12 sectional championships, 10 state appearances, earning 6 state trophies, 3 of those being state championships. Beyond his incredible success on the field, Coach Funkhauser is a respected leader at Edwardsville High School, as he serves as our physical education department chair and is a dedicated sponsor of our Fellowship of Christian Athletes. He's also a sought-after speaker and presenter at baseball clinics, both in Illinois and across the country, while sitting on numerous baseball boards. Coach Funkhauser's excellence has not gone unnoticed. He's been honored 3 times as the Class 4A Coach of the Year by the Illinois High School Baseball Coaches Association, and in 2016-2017, he was named the IHSA Baseball Coach of the Year. His contributions to the game were further recognized when he was inducted into the Illinois High School Baseball Coaches Association Hall of Fame in 2015, and followed by his induction into the St. Louis Amateur Baseball Hall of Fame in 2019. This past December, Coach Funkhauser reached yet another incredible milestone as he was inducted to the National High School Baseball Coaches Association Hall of Fame, joining an elite group of only 60 members nationwide. Please join me in congratulating Coach Funkhauser for his outstanding achievements and contributions both to our school and to the sport of baseball. We're incredibly proud to celebrate this induction with you this evening.
I'll try to be brief. I know there's a lot going on. I'd first like to thank God, and with all of what He's done for me, it wouldn't be possible. I'd like to thank my family. My parents are District 7 teachers that are retired, so I'd like to thank them. My wife is also a teacher in the district, teaching reading as well. And my parents influenced me. I was a student at Edwardsville High School, and I saw the impact that they had on the students throughout the years. And I saw the impact that fellow coaches like my dad had on other students throughout, and that's impacted my life. These players up here I hope I impact their life as much as they have mine already. And that doesn't include the other 26 years of teams that I've had at Edwardsville High School. I recently met with one of our players that has 2 dentist offices in the area, one in Edwardsville and one in Troy. And he talked about the impact that not only myself, but Coach Waldo, who was one of my coaches, had on his life. And that it amazes me. He talked about that he didn't have as much confidence, but through all the teachers in his lives as well as the coaches, they made that impact. So I just hope that I can make that same impact. The coaching staff, I have Mike Sabatino, Craig Olau. I'll rattle them off and then you can pause at the end. Mike Sabatino, Craig Olau, Adam Tyler, John Klepak, Daniel Lloyd, and Matt Rogers all go above and beyond. We put in countless hours as well as all the other athletic coaches. The impact that they make on a daily basis and take the load off me is unbelievable, and it's immeasurable. And I received this ring and the accolades of it, but the impact is far beyond me. I've had countless administrators and athletic directors help me out throughout the years and support our program, as well as the Booster Club, which we have several of our booster officers that are here tonight, and the parents. Everything that they've done and everything that we've put together and the impact that we have on our community. We had 46 teams in a tournament this weekend, and that's not happening because of me alone. The alumni that we've had continue to come out and support our program is immeasurable, and same thing with the community leaders. The impact of a teacher and a coach cannot be understated. Thank you. One last thing. Student athletes. It was the last thing on the list. Sorry, I missed it. I don't have my glasses on. Student athletes. Out of all the kids in our program last year, 3.345 GPA. That's all of them. That's not just the varsity. Great job.
Thank you guys for coming to the meeting tonight. At this time, I would like to introduce Ashley Walsh, Assistant Principal at Liberty Middle School, to introduce the Liberty Middle School cheerleading squad and recognize their accomplishments.
Thank you, Board and Dr. Shelton, for allowing us to be here to recognize these fantastic and wonderful young ladies. I'm going to turn over to their coaches. I have Taryn Cross and Kelly Reel.
Thank you. We would like to start by thanking the board and Dr. Shelton for this opportunity to celebrate the Liberty Cheer Team at this meeting. This group of girls, they grew as students and cheerleaders throughout their season. They worked hard and they showed resilience despite all of the extra challenges that they faced, like competing against new competitors due to the new IESA class assignment changes and reworking choreography again and again due to illnesses and injuries. Through these challenges, they remained focused and positive. They did an amazing job. They learned how to work together and play off of each other's strengths. I think almost all of these girls could say that they made their best friends at cheer practice. And through that, they created a special team environment that promoted positive social development and leadership skills, which fostered confidence in such a crucial part of their lives. And so we are so proud of their top 3 state finish and couldn't have done it without the support of our families, district, and community sponsors. And now I'm going to pass it to Kelly, and she's going to introduce the girls.
Okay, we have Olivia Kirk, Allie Gregory, Amelia Johnson, Arlen, some of the girls couldn't make it tonight. Arlen Fisher, Aubrey Grissom, Ava Slater, Brinley Covert, Charlotte Calloway, Claire Fico, Edna Kreka, Elizabeth Bubb, Harmony Ward, Kate Haneke, Kate Murphy, Layla Hanson, Madison McClellan, Livy Haas, Olivia Nickerson, Paisley Slate, Sophia Grandoni, Tegan Troxtall, and Tegan Graville. Thank you all so much. Oh, I didn't see Naomi. And Naomi Wallace. I'm so sorry.
Congratulations, ladies. Thank you so much. Thank you.
And we have one more group of athletes to acknowledge. At this time, we'll have Amy Buscolo back to introduce the Edwardsville High School wrestling team and recognize their accomplishments.
Thank you, Dr. Shelton, President Bertles, and the board for having us again. Wrestling is a very special sport, and the girls' wrestling team continues to impress as they're just growing leaps and bounds. When our program first started 4 years ago, we had 10 athletes, and we this year increased up to 27. This year, we were able to bring home 2 state medals, bringing our total number of program medals to 8, which is unbelievable in the 4 years that girls wrestling has been recognized. Additionally, our boys team had a significant achievement this year as 3 wrestlers earned state medals for the first time in program history. So this accomplishment marks an important moment for the program and demonstrates just the growth and success of all of our student athletes. So at this time, I'd like to recognize and bring up our girls head coach John Wagner and our boys head coach Eric Preto to discuss the accomplishments of both programs for the year.
Well, I know girls wrestling is getting popular, but this is just something else. No, joking aside, teachers, thank you for all that you do for District 7 and all the children. You guys are awesome. I'd like to thank the Board of Education and District Administration, along with a special thanks to Athletic Directors Amy Boscola and Billy Herman and Principal Alex Fox, really deep down for the support that they've given to girls wrestling, this newish kind of program. We thank you a lot. Coach Funkhauser, I just got to throw a plug behind it. Well deserved. You're awesome. Congrats. With your support, as far as the girls, like we said, our girls have won 7 tournament championships this year as a team. We ended the season with 25 girls on the squad, and we placed 5th place as a team in the IWCOA State Dual Team Tournament. On an individual side, at the end of the year, used 2 young ladies, Ms. Holly Zugmeyer, raise your hand, Holly, and Emma Rogers. They did what we call making the podium, and both placing 6th in the IHSA state tournament. Holly Zugmeyer will be missing her. She's in her 4th year. She's a senior. She's a 3-time state qualifier and a 2-time state placer, and secured her 100th victory this season. And just the totally opposite of that, we have Miss Emma Rogers. She is a freshman, okay, and she is pound for pound one of the strongest girls in the state of Illinois. I know you can't tell with that pink dress, all right? But, talk about Holly having over 100 wins. Emma, in just her freshman year, had over 42 wins for the Tigers this year. And her placing 6th in the state tournament. With 3 more years to accomplish more goals. So appreciate their efforts. Appreciate all you for having us out, and I'll hand the microphone over to Coach Preto.
Thanks, Coach Wagner. I also like to thank the board for having us tonight. Thank you to Ms. Boscolo, Mr. Herman, Mr. Fox, and Dr. Schlueter for all the support that they've given us throughout the year. They've always been in our corner. Edwardsville Wrestling mission is to enhance wrestlers' life through the sport and families through the sport of wrestling. And I don't think we can talk about our mission without honoring Coach Babe Stallhut. He passed away last month. He was a special part of our program. He knew what coaching was about. He did it with integrity. He was about giving kids opportunities to impact their life. And I know that he made a huge impact on Edwardsville Wrestling. Two weeks before his passing, he's exactly where you thought he would be. He was at the boys regional watching wrestling, cheering the Tigers on one last time. So talking about our season this year, I'm going to make sure I thank my staff. I got Coach Ciccarelli, Coach Mattarelli, Coach Hines, our middle school staff, and Coach Sean Mead and Coach Sam Mead. I appreciate everything they do for us. My wife reminds me constantly that I'm hard to get along with sometimes, so I appreciate everything they do for the kids and for our program. Our season this year, our theme was Journey Over Destination, and we had quite a journey this year. We ended up placing 5th at the Dvorak tournament, one of the top tournaments in Illinois, 1st at Francis Howell, 2nd at Columbia Hickman, and this was our 14th in a row conference title, which mirrors our regional titles also. Good. Thank you. Going into postseason, there's only 16 state qualifiers in each weight class, and we're able to put 4 kids at the state tournament this year, and Michael McNamara, Ryan Ritchie, Roman Janik, and Simon Schulte. And it was a special night in Champaign, as Ms. Boscolo said, that we're able to walk away with 3 state medals with hard-earned victories from each one of these guys, battling adversity throughout the whole thing. Ryan Ritchie walked away with the 5th place medal, Simon Schulte walked away with the 6th place medal, and Roman Janik walked away with the 4th place medal from Champaign. Coach Funkhauser talked about hoping that he left an impact on his athletes as much as they impact them as himself, and that speaks volume to our program as well, where we have 60 wrestlers, and when sectionals came, there were some tears in some kids' eyes, not accomplishing their goals. We come back to get ready for dual team sectionals, thinking, how am I going to get these guys ready? Didn't need to do that. The resilience they showed, the battle they showed, knowing that it wasn't just about them, it was about the team, and it was just a very humbling moment to be a part of the program because of what they did. We left Tuesday night sectional champions, defeating Lincoln Way East to be the 5th program in our history to be Elite 8. Just want to thank everyone's time, and proud of all our athletes that we have here and everyone else who got honored tonight. Thank you.
At this time, the board has set aside time for anyone who would like to address the board. I would like to remind our public that this portion of the meeting is for a maximum of 60 minutes. Time is reserved for comments from the public in accordance to Policy 2-230, public participation at Board of Education meeting and petitions to the board as follows. This will be the only opportunity to address the board during the regular meeting. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. A screen timer will be provided. Individuals may not defer their time to another speaker. If your comments are about matters involving students or district personnel, please refrain from disclosing names. Please understand that the board will not respond to questions made during the public comments, but may direct the superintendent to address these questions in a district communication or at a subsequent board meeting. Please remember that the board generally needs to gather additional information about any questions or concerns prior to responding or taking action. At the conclusion of the meeting, if you have additional questions for the board, please see Carrie Francis, the board secretary. And our first one that has signed up is Caleb Romisser. And I know some of these people might be in the overflow room, so we might have to wait a minute for Kayla Ramoser, sorry. Please come on up to the table, and that's fine, thank you. You have 3 minutes, and there will be a timer on the board behind me, and thank you for coming.
Thank you. Good evening, my name is Caleb Ramoser. I'm addressing you tonight as a product of District 7, as a former employee of District 7, as a current teacher in a nearby district, and most importantly, as a parent of a first grader in District 7. And I want to say first and foremost that I'm incredibly grateful to my teachers, to my daughter's teachers. The work that they have put in, the teachers I was able to work with in my time at Edwardsville are some of the best. And so I'm out of breath because I ran from the back room. But I'm incredibly grateful to them. I was so thoroughly disappointed in the administration's decision to remove what was 20, now is 16 teachers, to not replace 7 retirees. And I've heard firsthand that some of those teachers were told midday that they would not be welcome back next year. This is inhumane treatment, and for people who are expected to then walk back into the room and work with children when they have been told that they might not have a job next year, it's just an unfair expectation. I myself was riffed from a district in another state in the middle of the day, and there's nothing like it, going back to face those kids and pretend that everything's okay when you know that I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills 6 months from now. The reality is that the district has large sums of money in different places. We know that you have chosen to spend that money in places, and we know that you guys do your best to keep kids as the center. But we also know that the reality is that warehouses do not teach children. Software does not teach children. Buildings do not teach children. Teachers teach children. You need caring, compassionate, highly educated adults in the room to accomplish the goals that this district is committed to. So, as you move forward, I would hope that we choose to apologize for the inhumanity in the way that this was handled and seek a different course of action, because as we remove nearly 30 positions from the district, when the stress comes, and it will not be the kids who are from wealthy families and high-achieving classes in the honors levels and AP courses who feel the pressure of less teachers in the room. It will be poor students, it will be our rural schools, it will be students of color, students who are already facing oppressive systems who suffer the consequences of the choices made by this administration. Thank you.
Robert Unziger.
Good evening. My name is Robert Unziker, and I am speaking today as a representative of the Edwardsville Education Association. I have served in the role of co-president for the EEA for 6 years, and I've worked in this district for 18 years. The EEA represents over 500 certified staff members. The sea of red you see behind me this evening is filled with District 7's most valuable and most dedicated resource, our certified staff members, as well as supporters from the community. They showed up because we asked and because they care. I am speaking out of concern, frustration, and confusion on two topics that the district being discussed and voted on by the board this evening. The larger of these two topics is the resolution to non-renew 14 probationary teachers and 6 probationary permanent roving subs. These are not just non-renewals, but these are elimination of certified positions. These eliminated positions are in addition to 7 retiree positions the administration does not intend to refill. This reduction of 27 certified positions, which is 5% of the total certified staff in District 7, was not shared with the EEA leadership until Wednesday, March 19th. We had no indication prior to receiving a memo from Dr. Shelton that any such significant cuts were being considered. The date of this memo also creates the problem of not being notified 15 days in advance of such a RIF action as required in our current contract. The EEA recognizes that the board and administration have a responsibility to have an appropriate level of staffing based on enrollment and school funding, but it does not make sense why the board has been approving almost every cost item brought to them for the last several years, such as the purchasing of SUVs, rental of downtown offices, buying shuttles, sending staff states away for PD that was also offered in St. Louis, adding multiple new administrative positions, etc. But now there is a sudden financial panic. Such a large panic that we are eliminating 27 positions, which will have an impact on student learning and add workload to the remaining staff. To be clear, we are cutting staff and positions while D7 has been able to build a $12 million reserve in the Ed Fund and continues to see increased income from consistently increasing property tax revenue. It is astounding that the financial panic button has been hit right before the EEA and administration are going to begin negotiations on our successor agreement. To put it bluntly, we are simply tired of District 7 balancing their budget and protecting their reserves on the backs of certified staff. But we plan to make it clear about that during our contract negotiations. My second item is the vote on the implementation of a 7-period day at EHS and the shifting of school start and end times beginning with the 26-27 school year. There is not one person in this building that can give me an accurate total cost for implementing a 7-day period, let alone the cost of doing it well. We acknowledge that the idea to add a 7th period was done with the intention of expanding student opportunities and levels of support, and the EEA is on board with expanding these for students. But how can the board approve a plan that will have a financial and personnel cost associated with it while simultaneously cutting positions to save money? How can the board approve such a significant shift to the end time of EHS without any real effort to discuss with coaches and activity sponsors how students getting out of school over an hour and a half later will impact their practices, competitions, athletes, and coaching staff? I am not here to be an obstructionist, but I'm here to advocate for District 7 certified staff. I am here to advocate for District 7 students. I want this district to grow and become better. I am just not seeing actions that align.
Thank you very much, and you can.
The goal of the actions that do align are not being implemented properly.
Thank you. The next will be Nicole Fields. Nicole Fields. And there's some empty chairs here, so if a few of you would like to come up and use these empty chairs, you're welcome to fill them. Nicole? Sit, yeah, there you go, and please use the microphone. Thank you. I got that figured out. Okay.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, virtues that professional educators gain become embedded, and the longer their experience, the more valuable they are. These virtues are obtained, and as we model them, we hope the students learn from them. Negative actions happen within the skilled workforce in every field, and professions that work with our young can be very discreet. Within our school systems, the students are the sole purpose, and next to them are the teachers. The value of what these educators do and their worth have been disrespected for too long. The district has turned to foster greed and discrepancies, and the dismay couldn't be at a worse time. All the construction for years on end, the rise in property taxes, and the cuts in all the wrong places, they just keep happening year after year after year after year. Every day the teachers provide information to their students, mainly cognitive processes. And let's not forget other vital intelligences that are taught, like music, art, bodily kinesthetics go with the athletes, and they play a significant role. These expenditures are very important for our students. They are why we are here. And the people that teach them are the most important next to them. As previous experienced substitute teacher in this district, I stand with pride for these teachers being released as they have, as I experienced a similar situation. Now, this should not be happening, of course, but the disappointment is at its highest that I can remember being an alumni and a student. Well, alumni, student, and an ex-employee, excuse me. We have an excellent district for outsiders to want to come and live here. But the ruins of processing the funding is what is not being held most accountable. Now, I could go on about my experience with the district, but I'm too nice. So I'll move on to say what I will speak of is how absurd and that we can do this to our teachers.
Thank you very much for your comments, and if you'd like to share any other comments with the board, you are welcome to submit them either by email or get them to Carrie Francis. Okay, thank you. Kimberly Edwards.
I'm
Kimberly Edwards. I'm a 20-plus year veteran teacher in District 7, an EHS parent, and a District 7 taxpayer. According to a December 14, 2024 Intelligencer article where the superintendent was interviewed, it was stated that the 23-24 audit of the district found the fund balance to be at approximately $32.2 million. It also stated that, and I quote, "A positive fund balance means there's no stress about budget cuts." That is in direct contradiction to what occurred on Friday with the dismissal of 20 teachers and the announcement of not filling 7 retiring positions for a total of 27 positions being eliminated. If just in December we had over $32 million in the fund, why are we needing cuts? 6 of those cuts are the district permanent subs, leaving us with 0 permanent subs for next school year. If we are in a sub shortage, then how does it make sense to cut the subs we know we can depend on? And to use the excuse for the decision on the possibility of a cut in federal funding is a smokescreen, when only 6.4% of our funding is federal. It's a smokescreen to distract from the irresponsible spending this administration has been doing the past few years, and that the majority of the board has turned a blind eye to. Tonight, you are voting on these cuts in teaching positions, and then turning around to vote on approving expenditures for a $1.4 million storage facility, new high school track, and synthetic turf replacements. Is that what you, as a board and administration, see as more important than the teachers in the classroom that directly impact students on a daily basis that are up for dismissal? To approve the dismissal of these teachers and then turn around and vote to approve these expenditures, regardless of what bucket of money it comes from, would be a slap in the face to those teachers and to the taxpayers of this district. Strategic goal number 2. Strategic goal number 2 is about recruiting and retaining quality educators. How does the dismissal of these teachers help us with that goal? And don't think for a second that these quality educators won't go somewhere else before the start of next school year should you vote to dismiss them. They won't be waiting for a call back that may or may not happen. Just as we encourage our students to own their actions, it's time for the board to make the administration own their actions and spending choices the past few years instead of punishing these teachers. It is time for the board to vote no. Vote no on the dismissal of these teachers and vote no on the purchase of the storage facility and athletic expenditures. It is time for the board to stop voting with the administration and start listening to the stakeholders of this district. And we say save the teachers and stop the spending.
Josh Arnold.
Good evening, my name is Joshua Arnold. I am a spouse to a District 7 teacher at EHS, and I would like to urge the board to vote against laying off these teachers. From my point of view, if you're laying people off that have hopes and dreams and have worked to get where they're at and chosen to serve their community when they could be clearly doing something, making more money with their degrees than teaching in a high school, because that's not an extremely lucrative way to utilize a degree program, in my experience. These people are public servants who have chosen to serve their community, and we should respect that. And this is not respecting that. So if you're laying people off, you're telling me that there's no inanimate objects out there that the district could go without. There isn't any AstroTurf, there isn't any district vehicles, there isn't any buildings, there isn't any object that does not care whether it lives or dies tomorrow or eats or has a family to care for that the district can do without. It has to cut these teachers. That's what you're telling me if you vote in favor of this, that all of these other things are more important than human lives and local families and being able to put food on the table and take care of our communities and our local economy, because locally employed people are the economy. So I urge you to vote against laying off these teachers, and I think that each one of these layoffs is a failure of the board. Thank you.
Katie Robertson. She's coming from down the steps.
My name is Katie Robertson, and I'm here tonight as an alumna of D7, a parent, and a former school board member. In 2017, I worked with a group of dedicated people to pass Proposition E. Prop E was a referendum to increase monies to the education fund. This fund pays for everything in a school: teachers, support staff, instructional materials, everything. At the time, the district needed an increase to restore financial stability. The financial standing improved, and for the past couple years, the community has been told that the district is in excellent financial health. This makes sense to an extent. When you look at the budget in its entirety, it is very healthy. EAV, or Equalized Assessed Value, is the value of property and land owned by taxpayers. This year, EAV hit a record high. Our district is mostly funded by these local dollars. The transportation fund has recently been discussed as worrisome, but the current funding in the transportation fund could provide for this district for the next 8 to 10 years. This financial downturn in the education fund started with the poor choices in ESSER 3 funds, and the spending choices went unchecked from there. ESSER 3 was funding provided by the federal government during the pandemic. Last October, the third-party audit was presented to the board. At that time, the $2.5 million deficit in the ed fund was presented. The auditor told the board that the deficit was due to the staff cost additions from the exhaustion of ESSER 3, new certified stipends, new certified teaching assistant principal positions, new student support staff, and new software licenses. Why? At this time, didn't the board do its duty of oversight and ask how and when administration would course correct to fix the deficit? This has nothing to do with the threat to federal funding. The deficit was noted in October prior to the change in national administration. District 7 federal funding, as it relates to staff, only pays for 4.5 full-time employees. It is also important to note that even if the district lost all of its federal dollars, its total budget next year would remain flat. These cuts are due to unsustainable spending that went unchecked by this board. It is not uncommon for D7 to not renew a handful of probationary teachers each year. I look back over the past 5 years, and the average number of teachers not retained was 3. Those cuts were not performance-based. These cuts, right now, were not performance-based. They are due to the mismanagement of funds and the lack of strategic monitoring. There was ample time to warn staff. It wasn't done. In fact, today I learned more employees were notified of cuts or drastic changes to their roles. No warning. Teachers and support staff are the most essential part of a school system. An analysis of other costs to correct the deficit should have been performed at minimum a year ago, but instead the public has only heard how excellent financial standing is. You have prioritized things over people.
Thank you. Carla Kinsey. There's a couple chairs here in the front if you'd like to take a seat, but that's up to you.
Good evening. My name is Carla Kinsey. I come to you this evening as a graduate of District 7, a parent of 2 District 7 graduates, a 21-year veteran teacher in District 7, and a taxpayer. In the past 2 years, I have reached out to this board many times regarding safety and security and other issues within my building. I exhausted all channels I was given with no result. I came to the board because I trusted you, and I believed that you wanted what was best for the students and educators in this district. I believed you trusted me enough to at least see for yourselves. To my surprise, I was never given an audience with the full board, and very little respect. It took nearly 2 years to resolve all of these issues. As an educator, my focus is always the students. We do not exist without them. The cuts made on Friday will impact class size and supports within and outside the classroom. In order to serve our students to the best of our ability, we will be stretched even further than we already are. When restructuring occurs to fill the vacancies, we will lose administrative support, support received from valuable instructional coaches, and more. This decision is not just about balancing a budget. These people are human beings. that have dedicated their lives to the field of education. Some of these educators were hired less than a month ago to help with our sub-crisis, and here we are. After advising them that they will not be renewed for next year, I imagine they will not be subbing in our district, furthering our already strained subsystem. These decisions are life-altering and could have been prevented. If you know me at all, you know that I believe strongly in doing better once we know better. A vote sits before you today dismissing teachers, approving replacement of a gym floor, a new track, turf at the softball field, purchasing a warehouse for $1.5 million and more. While all of these items are important, I agree, none are more important than employing educators in this district. What occurred on Friday was traumatic for these human beings that had to endure being pulled out of class with no notice, receiving the message their contract would not be renewed, and then going back to class to teach. Some were not notified, along with others, and had to find out they were being cut via social media and their peers. I would imagine most of you sitting at this table do not think this is appropriate. So now we know better. Let's do better. Thank you.
Jill Martin.
Hello, my name is Jill Martin, and I'm a District 7 parent. There were two sentences from the District 7 PR statement regarding the teacher layoffs that caught my eye. This year, we are exercising additional caution due to uncertainties in federal funding. We remain mindful of resources available to the district and are committed to being responsible stewards of those resources. In light of tonight's meeting agenda, I have to tell you that those two sentences make me pretty angry. 20 teachers received pink slips on Friday, but hey, let's approve a warehouse building. A warehouse that likely needs renovations, so we'll have to approve those renovations later. New turf on 2 fields, let's throw in a new gym, a new track, and a 7-period day while we're at it, all while proclaiming to be responsible stewards. Some of you might be thinking, Jill, you don't understand. These projects we're voting on will be paid for from a separate financial bucket. Oh, but I do understand. What I understand is that the public should never trust anyone on this board or the current superintendent to spend our tax dollars prudently again. The ed fund bucket has been leaking like a sieve, and the majority of board members failed to raise public alarms, stem the flow, or plug the hole. It is obscene to vote on millions of dollars in spending in projects just 3 days after a workforce reduction. The district can't cry uncertainties in federal funding and responsible stewards in one breath and then turn around and spend more money in the next. It is a slap in the face to teachers and taxpayers that you are voting on these agenda items while simultaneously voting on a resolution to dismiss young teachers during a teaching shortage. District actions speak loud and clear. D7 values things over people. But all of these people wearing red in the room, we recognize the worth of teachers. And you all could learn a thing or two from us.
The next name on the list is Harper, and I apologize, I'm not sure how to read the second. Okay. Thank you for coming.
Okay. My name is Harper, and I'm a 5th grader in the district.
I love my teacher. She has always been there for me when I'm sad and is very kind to the students. She perseveres and has helped me grow. If she left, you'd be destroying her dreams in a way, preventing future students from getting to experience her stability and love as a teacher. You may not want her, but you need her. And also, you can't take the teacher out. You can't take the teacher out of the classroom, but you can't take the classroom out of the teacher. Don't do this. It will benefit you, her, me, and the countless minds she teaches and the ones she will teach in future years. And if the fact that you've hurt kids of the present and future generations does not concern you, in the most polite way possible, do you really care? And that's only one part of the problem, though. When removing one position does damage, removing 27 makes scars of one's own. While you are understaffed, by letting go more, you are digging yourself in a deeper hole that becomes harder to dig out of. So please, rethink your choice after listening to what a child who was directly impacted by this decision had to say.
Our next student is Jacob. And please, can you give us your last name?
Hello, my name is Jacob Lugie, and these teachers are so very nice, loving, caring, and helpful. District 7 does not deserve these teachers that are going to be so nice. It's their first year here, and you're already firing them. We need more teachers like them. These teachers are more important than the things you are trying to make happen.
And the next name is Ryder.
I am Ryder Utenage, and I go to Woodland Elementary. And I would just like to say that when my teacher informed us that she would not be teaching next year in District 7, that we were heartbroken, knowing that our teacher would not get a chance to love any more students like she did us. Our students, everyone in my class always loved her as an awesome teacher. Almost everyone called her the best teacher they've ever had. She was caring, let us have all the fun we want during recess, didn't make us do any extra work if we didn't make us do any extra work if we weren't comfortable doing it, making us feel as free as possible while also teaching us and making us grow. Now, I would like to confront that I do not think that these cuts are okay. I think teachers are more important than buildings and turf and whatever else y'all are wanting to buy. I think that instead of buying random objects that have no feelings, we should take care of the human beings who do have feelings. Now, I, as a former student, was always loving and caring to everyone around us, and most of my class is here today showing our love and appreciation to our teacher. And that's all I have.
Nora Cootie.
Hello, my name is Nora Cootie. I'm a 5th grader in Woodland Elementary School. I was heartbroken when I found out my teacher might get fired. I was filled with sadness because my teacher is kind, loving, smart, and helped me with a lot of problems I've been going through. I am here today to support my teacher because she has been the best teacher ever, and she couldn't get fired. She shouldn't get fired because they want to make improvements. I'm standing with her today because she has helped me a lot, and I really appreciate her, and she's my favorite teacher in the whole wide world. Thank you.
Thank you. Amy Bodenstab.
Hello, my name is Amy Bodenstab. I am very, very sorry I'm not wearing red. I am the AFSCME Local 2887 President at SIUE and Solidarity. I, however, am here because I am a parent, a taxpayer, and a voter. My son found out that one of his teachers has not been asked to return. That is how I found out about this particular situation. That's not really an excusable way to address things. I can only say, because the kids went in front of me, so there has been a plethora of solid information presented to you tonight. I encourage you to think clearly about what has been said, the atmosphere of the people that are here, and how many lives we touch, because it is not just the people here and in that overflow room. It is the entire community looking at you to be accountable, because you are accountable to us, to these students who we entrust to you to make good decisions. So, I would encourage you to vote against this little lay off the people and spend money for no reason thing you got going on. There is a way to be a leader, and this is not it. You lead by providing information and paying attention to what people say to you, and then acting accordingly. I did not become president because I can't do those things. If I can do them, you can too. Thank you. Thank you.
Meg Extranol. I'm sorry if I don't say the name correctly. Could they be outside? Meg?
Yes, she's coming.
Okay.
Hi everyone, my name's Meg. I'm sorry I'm out of breath. I just ran from the other room. I'm a nurse and a mom of 4 kids in this district. And I'm sorry I'm not wearing my red, but I just got off work and I didn't want to miss the meeting. I just wanted to take a few seconds to say that I think we would be making a huge mistake as a district to choose to make these cuts instead of putting our money in other places. We don't want turf, we don't want more storage. If you need more storage, I've got plenty of room in my basement, and I'm sure a lot of other parents here would be happy to provide storage room for you. I think we need to be valuing our teachers and our students as number one, and I don't see that happening. And I'm concerned and I'm embarrassed, honestly, to be a parent in this district today. And my husband and I had to have the conversation of what are we going to do for our younger kids in this district if they continue to increase class sizes? Are we going to have to consider moving on to a different district that values teachers and parents and their students? And it's simple. Don't make this decision. Let's make the right one. Let's value our teachers and our students as the number one. And I stand with our teachers today. So that's it. Thank you.
Those are the ones that have signed up previously on the papers. Is there anyone else that would like to speak before the board? We've got about another 25 minutes before the 60-minute time limit is over. Yes, come on down. Can we get the microphone up to you?
Good evening. My name is Sheila Bowens. I am a proud product of Edwardsville School District, K through 12. I taught in Edwardsville District for 35 years. I also, when I retired 15 years ago, volunteered in classrooms because I wanted to give back, because I am a member of this community and pay taxes. But I had to stop doing that because the principal at the schools that I was volunteering at asked me and begged me to sub. So now I am a substitute teacher in Edwardsville School District. And Friday, I was subbing in a classroom in one grade that I was hired to sub in, and was asked to go to a different classroom, and just happened to overhear, I guess it was the principal say, she just needs to get herself back in control. At the moment, I didn't realize what was happening until after I got out of school and start looking on news and reading about all the teachers that were being released at the end of this year. That particular classroom that they asked me to go into, the teacher was losing her position. And when I left that classroom, I was so upset because I have always, and I've represented Edwardsville School District at all kind of state committees, on federal committees. I represented the state of Illinois and the school district of Edwardsville on committees in Washington, D.C. as the only teacher from the state of Illinois representing the state of Illinois. So I know a little bit of something about education. I know a little bit about something about budgets. I find it very terrible that you see that it's more important to build a storage room and to buy turf when they can run on that track the way it is. We have one of the best tracks that there is already out there. We need teachers. We need teachers to help these students become the best adults that they can become in the future. And I suggest that you please do not vote to eliminate all these positions and support your educators. Because think about it, they're the ones who made all of you who you are. Okay? Took an educator. Thank you very much.
And does
My name is Gina Cassing. I am, I would say, the current ag teacher at Edwardsville High School. I started 3 days before school started, literally. I'm sorry, I'm really upset, guys. I was given this job, and no, I don't know what I'm doing. I have my provisional degree. I have 2 bachelor's degrees, but it's not in education. But I do my darndest every day to learn my ag kids, to take care of them, to teach them respect, responsibility. Everybody thinks, oh, the ag kids are crazy. No, they're not. They have attitudes, and if you stick a group of seniors together that sometimes act like preschoolers, that's the way it is. I've taught preschool. Not a lot of difference between it's just the height. I love my job. I love my job. I've never said that in my entire life. I'm 42 years old, and this is my very first teaching job. No, I'm not the best at FFA, but you know what? I want to try. I want to do more with these kids. This is my passion. Ag is my passion. I worked in ag for 15 years, or about 15 years. I love teaching them. Even when I sub, I teach kids, hey, do you know the difference between a dairy cow and a beef cow? They're like, they're cows. Oh, no, they're not. Slow down. We've got a greenhouse that y'all need to, I'm telling you, everybody needs to come by and look at it. It looks amazing. I am so excited. Thank you, Jill, for helping me too. They're my babies. Somebody told me that after I found out that I was losing my job on Friday, forget the greenhouse. I said, what? Absolutely not. You are not taking me away from that greenhouse. Those stupid little plants are my babies now. And we're going to have a really good sale at the end of April. Let's plug that a little bit. But the kids have been working hard. My first hour has been busting butt doing it. They're learning responsibility. But really, guys, I'm not here to beg for my job per se. Now, not that I don't want it, because I do. But I'm mainly speaking for the ag kids. We can't cut the ag program. We can't cut FFA. If you don't keep me, okay. But they gotta have it somewhere. I was told on Friday that nobody's gonna come replace that position. And as small as that program is, we can build it bigger. And even if you're a city kid and you don't know much about ag, let's get in and let's learn more about it. I just don't want to see the ag program just pushed away. And again, I really do want my job. I really do. But even if you don't replace me, you've got to put somebody back in there, because it is a big passion of the kids. And the FFA, the alumni, they do a lot with us too. And I just don't want to see that go away. And yes, I do want my job, just saying. So.
Hello, Edwardsville Board members. How are you today? Good. Well, I'm here on behalf of...
Do you want to say your name, please?
Yes, I'm Patricia Lowe, running for school board, but I stand for what's right. And having this challenge faced with teachers and students, continuity of care, what I do as a nurse. And that continuity of care means that you got staff members that's constantly serving year after year after year. Then they know the resident and they know the nurse. The nurse know all about that resident. Well, it's the same as teachers. When you got a continuity of teaching, those teachers know those students. They know what they go through. They know what they experience. Having those valuable teachers, you lose teacher morale. Having new people coming in, everybody has to get adjusted to everything that's going on. But teachers are valuable. My children went to District 7. My oldest daughter, who was 40 years old, back then, we didn't think we had those kind of issues with teachers. Teachers were there. My hat goes off to those that are in retirement. I know you were there when my child was there, but I stand in rightful position with valuable teachers. Losing teachers, I mean, you're losing more than teachers, you're losing the student. You're losing their focus. Now they have to get adjusted to someone new that they don't even know. But the teacher that's been there, they know that teacher. They can feel comfortable with learning. So it's just like you taking your child to daycare. That child gonna scream and holler to whatever time that you come pick them up. It's the same way with teachers. Those students need a continuity of teaching. That means staff retention, keeping your staff and keeping them employed so Edwardsville District can be the best district everybody wants to move to. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Luca Ratana. I just want to say that the beginning of the school year, I was very scared just to come to school because I didn't know who my teacher was until we actually got mid-year, and then I realized how much I actually like her and how good of a teacher she is. And that I think these jobs shouldn't just go to waste for things that don't have brains or don't have feelings. I would literally do anything to have my teacher again in middle school. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jessica Kester. I'm a lifelong Edwardsville girl. I know a lot of you on the board. I graduated from Edwardsville High School. My husband's a teacher at Edwardsville High School. Our kids are, one in Edwardsville High School, one has graduated. And I have watched the Edwardsville board balance its budget on the backs of teachers for decades. I have watched them say, take this hard freeze, we'll get you on the flip side. Take this soft freeze, think about the kids. And every time the teachers have done it, and they have done it graciously, and every time they never get it made up to them. So all of these teachers sitting in this room who have been here for any length of time, their pensions are forever impacted by that hard freeze. That soft freeze continues to impact them. And I have seen some of the best teachers leave this district to go to other districts. I have seen them leave teaching altogether. One of my child's very favorite teachers last year, at the end of the school year, peaced out. She's not teaching anymore. Now, she still finds time to volunteer. She comes back and sponsors some clubs. That's the passion that she feels for education and for students. And you've lost that in your education because you haven't valued your teachers. If you look at the economy and you see where Edwardsville rates in paying their teachers, it is so far below the state average, it is laughable. Now, not for our administrators anymore. Administrators got a 15% pay bump. However, state law says you can't do that for teachers. Teachers are capped at 6%. But that's never been stacked to bring teachers to where they need to be in the state. When I was in Edwardsville, and Kristen, you know this, you were here with me, we were the best school around. Our scores were the best. Our sports were the best. We were the place to be. Now we have schools on watch lists. And it's because we haven't valued the staff that teaches these children, that take these tests and get these scores. We have treated them as second-class citizens for decades, and they are finally valuing themselves to the point that despite their passion for education, especially if they're Tier 2 educators, they're gone. So I am asking this board to really think about the economics of what you're doing and focus on students and stop balancing your budget on the backs of your teachers.
My name is Rachel Cardwell. My daughter Reagan is in the Castle program at Lincoln. We moved here 6 years ago from St. Louis trying to find some kind of a better special education. And when we got here, we found the Castle program. And I thought we lucked out, we found the best, and it's been the best. The bond that my daughter has made with her professionals, with her teachers, with her therapists, I credit them with all progress that she has made over the last 6 years, and it has been tremendous. On Friday, we saw on the news that there was an executive order that would like to push funding to the Department of Health and Human Services. That same day, we saw a statement from the board saying we will continue to advocate for funding. To me, when I heard that, that didn't say anywhere that we were going to do something about it. Then to hear that we've got half a dozen layoffs in the district, I can tell you that just about every Castle program parent right now is terrified. To sit here and constantly hear about things we're investing in that don't matter, that we've heard about all night long. I personally watch the construction at Lincoln every morning and afternoon when I drop off and pick up. And all of those things are really nice. They're very, very nice. But if the services that my kid and other of the most vulnerable students are at risk, which given what is going on right now, I think is only going to increase the fear of that over the summer. I'd say that these meetings are probably going to get a lot bigger when the rest of the Castle program is upset at the cuts. So I really wish you guys would reconsider some of the non-important things and make sure that we're taking care of our most vulnerable students and the teachers that are their whole world.
Thank you. Yes. Oh, sorry.
I'm a student at EHS, and I just want to say.
Can you say your name, please?
Sawyer Heck.
Thank you.
Yes. Last board meeting, a certain board member said that, I won't say names, a certain board member said that you should finish your current projects before you start new ones. And at the time, I thought that was a bit silly because you had given us, your community, the perspective that we have plenty of money to go around to be building new gyms and new playgrounds for Columbus. I remember when I was in 3rd grade when the slides and playground equipment at Columbus first broke. And it took you, I don't know, like since then to start fixing it till this school year. I remember the day it happened, and I was waiting for it to get fixed. And now, with what happened on Friday, I see that that's just nonsense. That now I agree with that board member. Sorry, I'm a bit nervous. I now agree with that board member that we should finish our current projects, because if you can't afford to keep teachers around, then you shouldn't have the need to spend it on storage containers and new gyms and AstroTurf. And while I agree that we do need new fields, right now is not the time to do it due to the national teacher shortage and due to the fact that you cannot keep your subs in your district. Thank you for your time.
Hello, my name is Bella Kennedy, and I'm a student at EHS. I heard about the teacher cuts this morning in my first hour class from one of my very good friends. She is in the ag program, and she was heartbroken to hear about her teacher having to leave. I was in the future teacher program at EHS, and the ag teacher has subbed for our class before, and she's a phenomenal human being. And she knows her stuff, she knows what she's teaching, and she knows how to reach these students and get them to open their eyes to wanting to learn and wanting to grow. And so many of our teachers do that for our kids. So many kids come into school not wanting to be there, not wanting to be in the environment, but our teachers are what make us happy in our school and what make us wanting to learn. If you get rid of good teachers, no one's going to want to go to school anymore. And then our education is going to fall. Our education is what makes our world go round, including farmers. Our FFA is so important for our, I get that we can make food in labs and stuff, but that's not okay or cool. Our farmers is what started us. We are getting so far away from the actual importance of our world and our country and our people that we're spending too much time thinking about, oh, what can we better, or what can we use to better our money, or what can we spend to make ourselves look better. But we're not caring about what is actually affecting the people in the district. The sports and the equipment that we could use, yes, that is going to help our future. But if we're cutting teachers who are spending time with our students every day today, that's not going to help our future if we have a cool field. That's all.
Thank you. Teachers.
Hello, Mr. Superintendent and board members. Long time no see. First of all, I want to say thank you so much to our teachers. You are wonderful. We appreciate you so much, and we're hoping that something is done differently today. You have all heard the facts. I'm not going to try to go into that and belabor the point, but if you have been paying attention, you would know that the public is not happy with you. You would know that your community has lost trust in you. Today is your chance to do something different. Today is your chance to listen and make a decision accordingly. Listen to your people, community members, teachers, students. Let's pause. I don't understand how you can cut teachers and yet have money to pay for any other thing. It doesn't matter that it's coming from another bucket or not. Let's do something right for our students and for our teachers. It's so important. We're counting on you, board members. Make the right decision. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Amelia Martin, and what I'm about to talk about is going to get very dark and deep. But a lot of these teachers have stopped people like myself with mental health issues from killing themselves.
Okay. At this time, I would like to thank everyone who spoke this evening, and we are unable to address your comments as I had said earlier, but please know that myself and the superintendent, as well as other board members, will go have several discussions about the topics that have been brought up this evening, and we appreciate the comments of all the students as well as the adults and teachers that were here tonight. We'll take a brief recess if anyone would like to step out, and we will start back in about 5 minutes. So thank you for coming if you choose to leave at this time, and if not, we will move on to the agenda items next. Hearing none, to be removed from the consent agenda item for separate action, I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda item as recommended this evening.
Second.
Did I hear a motion?
Did you say?
So moved.
So moved. Second?
Second, yes.
Thank you very much. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Brumback.
Yes.
Sanderson.
Yes.
Delariva.
Yes.
Fund.
Yes.
Patey.
Yes.
Ahart.
Yes.
Birtles.
Yes. At this time, I would like to introduce Mary Beth Brown, Director of Kids Zone, who will present to the board on the summer programming.
I'm excited to tell you a little bit about Summer Zone. Glad everyone showed up to hear about it. First off, and most importantly, the first slide, if we could go back to it, is the whole reason we do it. The whole reason most of us are in this room anyhow is these smiling little faces and the fun we have. So we like to keep these smiling faces all going all summer and continue on from the classroom and have fun at Summer Zone. So these are some pictures from last year of some of the fun that we had while we were at Summer Zone, and so I wanted to share those with you, kind of show you the reason behind it all. And more to the business side of things, our online registration did open March 17th, so it's been open a week now. Registration is available through the district website. And so far our enrollment is looking good. It's a little more than even projected. We have some weeks that are already full at 150 plus. Summer Zone is offered to all residents of District 7, so not just children enrolled in District 7 schools, but all children in the boundaries of District 7. It's open to those who have completed the district's preschool academy program through those who have finished 5th grade. Our dates this year are June 2nd to August 8th. We operate from 6:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, and we are at Goshen Elementary. We do have a rate of $200 a week per child. We do offer a multi-child discount, and we also accept state aid for those families who qualify. So our projected enrollment, which I think will go up, but about 280 children total is what we're projecting to be enrolled for this summer, and that breaks down to about 175 children weekly. Our enrollment is done weekly, so parents can pick the weeks that they want their child to attend. They don't have to attend the whole summer. We do have 40 employees that we staff. A lot of those are carryover employees from our Kids Zone program, but we do have just some seasonal employees that come back from out-of-town college and stuff like that work for us. In addition to that, we have myself, my assistant director, Emily Moore, and 2 program coordinators, Wes Anderson and Harley Graham, who are the people I could not do any of this without. So they are the brains behind a lot of this, so I give them a lot of credit. And then kind of onto the fun stuff of this summer. We pick a theme, what we're going to kind of focus on during the summer, and this one is around the world. So we will focus on a different continent through each week of the summer, and then we plan our curriculum and activities based on that, and we'll have different culture activities through crafts and games inspired by the cultures in that continent. We also do partnerships. Edwardsville Arts Center has partnered with us for many years, and they come in every Monday and do our projects with all the kids. And then we also go to the SAUE indoor pool every Wednesday and take the kids swimming. So they enjoy that. We also just secured another partnership with Goshen Martial Arts, so they will be coming in to do some martial arts with the kids, which they've done before, and the kids really enjoy that. One of the other fun things that the kids love to do is cooking with the kids, and they get to make a dish from, this year will be from a different country or a continent-inspired dish, and they will get to prepare it, cook it, and eat it. So they really enjoy that very much so. So our kind of focus at Summer Zone is to focus on some social skills, gross motor play. We try to get the kids out and active as much as possible, and imaginative play throughout the day. So those are the things that we really like to focus on. We're really looking forward to having a lot of families back in our care again and welcoming those that are going to be new to the Summer Zone program. So any questions?
did you say you're fully staffed already? Or you're accepting applications?
We are still accepting applications, but we are very well on the project of where we're at staffing. We do accept children of all needs, so we still are staffing for children who may need additional care than just being in the large group.
Where's it held at?
Goshen.
Goshen?
Mm-hmm.
So my own daughter worked for Summer Zone before
Yes.
she started nursing school, actually,
Yes, she
and
did.
loved it. So big plug for Summer Zone from here. So,
All right, well, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Any other questions? Can you pick up that tablet? I'm assuming it might be from one of the students earlier, so we can get it to the principal or someone that can get it back if they need it. Thank you. At this time, Kristen Fund, Facilities Committee Chairperson, will you provide your report from the Facilities Committee?
The Facilities Committee met earlier this morning. The topics of discussion were the high school sewer repair that will be happening over spring break. Then to follow would be the gym floor. Then we also discussed the replacement of the high school track and the softball varsity field, as well as the purchase of property, which is all will be brought up later.
Okay, that's it. Thank you. There is a link on board docs for the community members to look at each of the March newsletters from each of the buildings, school buildings, and we appreciate reading those and seeing the pictures that are included and seeing the activities that happen in each building. And we are going on to our action considerations. At this time, Dr. Shelton, will you do your recommendation for approval action item 8.1?
Thank you. It's recommended that the Board of Education approve personnel matters related to the resignations and retirements of employees as discussed earlier this evening in executive session.
So move.
Second.
And any questions or discussion on those? Please call the roll.
Brumback? Yes. Fund?
Yes.
Delariva?
Yes.
Sanderson?
Yes.
Patey?
Yes.
Ahart?
Yes.
Bertles?
Yes. Approval of action item 8.2, Dr. Shelton.
Thank you. It's recommended that the Board of Education approve personnel matters related to the appointment, employment, compensation, or transfer of employees, pending required certifications and professional educator license, completion of paperwork and all background fingerprint checks completed as cleared, as discussed earlier.
Move to approve.
Second.
And questions or discussion? Please call the roll.
Sanderson?
Yes.
Delariva?
Yes.
Brumback? Yes. Fund?
Yes.
Patey?
Yes.
Ahart?
Yes.
Bertles?
Yes. Approval of action item 8.3, Dr. Shelton.
Thank you. It's recommended that the Board of Education approve a resolution authorizing the dismissal and non-reemployment of 16 certified non-tenured probationary employees.
Do we have a motion?
So that we can get to a discussion, move to approve.
Second to get this, so we can discuss.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second, so we will open it up for discussion. I guess we've heard from several students as well as employees as well as community members, and we appreciate all of those comments tonight. This is never a fun meeting to have. We have them every year, and it's always a tough decision. Can you answer some questions from the board? As far as in your superintendent's comments, you alluded that some of these teachers or these positions will be refilled at some point. Can you give us some more details on that?
Certainly, there are some that the certification would require us to fill that position, such as special education. For class loads, there are also some administrative positions that will be transferred to teaching positions, so they'd be filled that way, as well as instructional coach reductions that would cause instructional coaches to go into teaching positions.
Okay.
At this time, how many instructional coaches do we have?
There are 4 at the high school and 4 at the middle school that all work a part-time schedule. There are 6 at the elementary school, and then there are 2 instructional technology at the elementary school.
Well, I, for one, would like to just go on record that being an adult sucks. This is, I mean, for me, one of the hardest votes. It's unfair that the communication has been so poor. It's a fact that you cannot spend more than you bring in. And I mean, it's math, and I don't know how to fix that. And unfortunately, those types of decisions need to be made on the front end so that you don't put yourself in this position. And I unfortunately am in that position where we have to make that decision. I think with focus on a more robust planning process, which I have been fighting for since coming onto the board, hopefully that will help bring a little bit of comfort to the community going forward, but it's not going to fix, I think, a lot of the pain that's going to be experienced in the near term. I just really don't know what else to say.
Do you think there is any... Do you anticipate rising in class sizes?
Overall, no.
So the question, I guess, then is, while there are 16 names on this list, does that mean 16 classrooms are closing?
No.
So I've made no secrets about how I feel about this, and I've said it both in private and in public, that when we have shuttles sitting out there, that should be something that we cut first. We look at material objects that we can cut out first. We look at admin that we've created positions for. And we go for those. It's never easy to make these decisions. I've had to make them on a different level. It's something where, you know, it's just as agonizing for the people making the decision and the people that are, you know, living through them. But we should exhaust every other thing first before we look at the first person to tell them that they won't be able to provide for their family.
I was just going to sort of echo, sort of a lot of those expenditures I have complained about as well. I think it has not gone unnoticed for me, the optics going into this meeting. And I have been very clear about my opposition to some of the expenditures that are on the ballot tonight. This is off topic, but I know for a fact there are a couple of people in the room right now who I've been very excited about talking about the track getting resurfaced, because we have a state championship level track team, and they have a track that we really can't host meets on. And it needs to be done. And we budgeted for it. But the plan currently is to exceed that budget with what we plan on doing, and I can't sign on to that. So in one respect, we're talking about, having to make cuts because we're exceeding our, but the budget is not being adhered to when we come up with these plans. We've kicked the track down the road twice, and when we finally get to a point where I think we're going to do it, we start layering in additional items on it, and it it's too much. I mean, I don't know any other way to vote for dismissals, but then at the same time, I'm nauseated by the fact that we've got these other expenditures on the list. It doesn't make sense.
Dr. Shelton, the names on the list, the teachers that are on the list, is it all based on just the seniority of first in, first out, or
Not
is
necessarily.
it
There are
performance?
some that are based on performance. There are some that are based on first year teachers that kind of on the seniority list, for lack of a better word.
Sure.
So it's a combination.
Okay.
So if we vote no for this, then we're retaining teachers that you aren't recommending that we retain.
And in addition to that, we're locking in a commitment for those salaries for all of next year, correct?
We can't hear you.
The question that I asked was if this vote also locks in the cost of employing all 16 for next year. The irony of this is not lost on me. I just figured out 30 years ago today was the first of 3 years in a row where I was on this list. Not here, but in another district, where I boxed up my things at the end of the school year, took them home, and waited until August to see if I got a phone call. So I'm very, very aware of what this feels like. Anybody out there a military spouse? Okay, I'm so sorry, because I can tell you 20 years in the classroom, 16 of them I was non-tenured. If you move every 4 years, that's what you do. And that's not fair to teachers. This feels very unfair as well. Again, having been there, I can definitely feel the temperature of the room. This is, again, what Bob just said, being an adult really stinks. Because you're having to fight feeling, logic. So this is going to be a hard vote.
What's the makeup of the experience on most of this list? Are most of them new teachers, or is there a combination?
All probationary first, second year teachers. There could be some on there that have experience in other districts, but the vast majority for
brand new
all our
teachers.
first, second year teachers in District 7.
So I was looking at the ed fund, and we started out the year at 15.8 million, and then I believe we end the year at 13.3. And if we commit to this for the next year, then we've also committed to the financial obligation as well, which will probably drive the ed fund. I think, given the fact that we are seeing expenses rise tremendously. And then we're probably going to see some flat funding from the title funding from the federal government, and possibly the National School Lunch Program will be not funded as well. So then we're talking about how does that shift in funds affect us as we look forward to the ed fund over the next year, and then how do we approach and handle that? Because we're still going to run a school lunch program. We're still going to run a school lunch program, and we're still going to have our teachers teach Title I through 4. So I guess I'm struggling with how do we look forward over the next year and justify all of our expenses, or try to make sure that we are meeting without decreasing the ed fund to a point where we can't sustain it.
I know that we can't keep everybody. I know there's gonna have to be cuts. We talked about it. The depth that we've gone is deeper. I think we can review these. We're still staying within the notification. And then give notification after we've gone through, we've reviewed other things that we can go after. Again, I don't want to see anybody go. But when we've created spots, when we've added things, let's start making these tough decisions first. And let's hurry up and get back to these people. And get back to the numbers we talked about.
So I think unfortunately, we've seen this before, and it was in 2016. And we cut over 28 people we did a reduction in force back then. And it was a necessary part of a conversation that none of us wanted to have. And as we whittle away at the Ed Fund, when is it going to be the point where we don't revisit these conversations? There's some tough conversations ahead, not just for this particular one, not just for the non-reemployment of certified non-tenured probationary employees, but what does this next year look like, and how is funding going to affect us and all of our employees? I'm not saying that this is just such a
I respect that.
the way to go. I'm just saying those are things that we need to consider over this next year.
I respect everything you just said, but I also know this. When we're sitting here, and I know it's a great program that we have, but we're partnered with IESB. I know that's something we pay for. I know that when you take that and you lay it up against a teacher's salary, that's a teacher. When we sit here and we start looking at some of these other programs, and you look at the calculated value that we're spending on these programs, that's a teacher. When we looked at the positions that we added, administrative-wise, that's 1, 2, 3 teachers. I don't want to see anybody lose a job. But as many of them said, that's boots on the ground right there. Those are the ones that are doing the job for us.
I mean, and I recognize that, Scott. I worked for Prop E. I walked. I attended PTO meetings that my kids weren't in school at. I followed Dr. Andre around, her staff, and we talked about what Prop E meant for a community. In 2021, I talked about a TIF that has a projected EAV of $18 million. And I was against that TIF because it would bring in $700,000 a year for our school district. And I was a lone voice in that crowd talking about it. I'd love to be able to say we were going to take income from that property today, but we're not. So when I look around at how we support our teachers, I think we as a board have come together collectively to try to do that. I didn't see anybody talk about the TIF with me. And I thought that was a really important thing for school teachers. That's $700,000. So I feel that, we look at stuff like that and we work very hard to make all of this work. But as I look ahead, we're facing some huge challenges, and they're funding challenges and expense challenges as well.
That's all I got.
Dr. Shelton, what would be the timeline for notifying staff of rehire if they are on a rehire?
As soon as we have positions, we would notify them before we post a position.
Okay, but is that, now, is that August? What do you, I mean, I don't mean to get
So
you
if it's
into a
based on
timeline,
enrollment, then it's
Mhm.
probably later in the summer as we go through registration process and we're counting students. That's kindergarten and some other grade levels that we're watching, because we are being very conservative. If it's based on resignations, then it could be much sooner.
Okay.
And what's the, I don't know, what's the norm in the past several years as far as resignations that come in after the end of the school year or between?
I don't know if there's a norm, and Dave probably has a better idea pre-COVID of what that looked like, but I think in the past 4 years, it's been 30 to 40 between resignations and retirements, and I think this year we're at 9.
I
So,
just know that it seems like after we do the annual recognition banquets, it's always, then after that, we always approve 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever more resignations or retirements, that it's like, well, we didn't even have the opportunity to recognize them at that event, but they've chosen to do that retirement at that time. So for whatever reason.
So, just to be clear, with these 16 positions, are they still, what's going to happen to these 16 positions themselves? They're still open, or they will be filled, or they just?
some will be filled, some will be absorbed depending on the grade level certification, depends on. So as an example, if you have a 3rd grade position that you're releasing and an instructional coach goes into that position, then the class size stays the same.
Any other questions or discussion?
April 15th. That's the board has to take action by April 15th, correct?
So normally we've done this, and I went back and looked at the records, and normally we do this, have done this at end of February and early March. And so this is the first time that we've done it this late.
Because?
Some of it just waiting on projections and numbers and.
Well, but the deadline
Oh,
used
the
to be
deadline did
earlier.
change, yes, it's April 15th now, and it used to be 60 days before the end of the school year.
What was the last part of what you said?
It used to be 60 days before the end of the school year, and now it's April 15th, according to school code.
You know, I'm also, you know, I was listening to members of the public talk. And so one of the things that that they discussed was unchecked spending. And so when we look at the ed fund itself, because that's what we've been discussing, this is the subject of the ed fund. Where do you see unchecked spending coming out of the ed fund? Do you see anything besides teachers?
I think that's a better question for the board, because I don't know that I would be the best person to answer that.
Okay.
Just, because I would say everything that we have spent has been budgeted, and it's been according to a program and a plan.
Well, I mean, it's a
So
mindset,
80
right?
85% of the ed fund is salaried employees. And so
85?
I'm just concerned we're not going to be able, that 15%
For everything else.
is not going to be able to, we're not going to be able to cut away or whittle away at that 15% in order to meet some of the ed fund objectives for the next year.
So to Scott's point, there have been times that we have cut more, well, there's times we've cut whole programs and gotten away from all of things. And back in the 2012 era, that is when we broke away from going to the IHS, or the School Board Association. I said
IESB?
Thank you. And then we found it, some of the services that they gave us were definitely used by board members and things like that. And so in, I don't even know, 6 years ago, something like that, 7 years ago, we did decide. But I think the dues for that is $1,500, something like that. I think it's under $2,000, I don't remember exactly. But
It provides us with legal framework.
And the policy.
Framework. And I think that's necessary.
But are there any other things that you can know that's going on throughout the district that you might be able to take, you know, I don't know that anything's going to add up to a whole teacher's wage, salary,
Right.
or especially not 16.
There are some areas that we're looking at. We're looking at usage around curriculum licenses and software licenses. There are some that are expiring, and middle school folks, don't kill me if I get this wrong, but Delta Math can go away. Middle school math, Delta Math, time to go away. So there's some things like that we're looking at usage. And there are some programs we've looked at that we thought were not being used, but then when we pulled usage reports, they're being used a lot by teachers, and that's the last thing we want to do is take tools out of teachers' hands. At the same time, if it's a tool that's worthwhile to take out and it's going to provide significant cost savings, it's something that we're having conversations about.
Just to correct the record on something, I did not say there was no value found in IASB. I'm saying that when we're doing this and making these decisions, every dollar that comes in needs to be scrutinized before it goes out. And this is something that we can table and come back and pick up IASB at a later date. It's not like they will exclude you from rejoining, but anywhere you can trim fat, you have to trim fat, no matter how small or how large.
So I guess one of the things that I look at is over this last several years, we've increased our mental health counselors. And that's been very important. Over the last several years, we've increased mental health for our students. And so we've seen that reflected in the budget as well. So just to pull a couple numbers, over the last year, we spent, we had allocated for ESSER funds $600,000 for mental health. And so we hired more counselors, and I was proud to say we've had more mental health supports for our students than ever before. And so, as Jennifer said, our needs haven't changed. We need things like that. But when we look at the budget, how do we make that kind of thing work? How do we make it work? And that's where we're, and as we look forward to the next year, how do we continue to provide mental health supports in the context of our budget?
Yeah, because the newest program we added, what's the name of the online one?
Cartwheel.
Yeah, Cartwheel. It's 100%, actually, they were over on the number, so it's used 100%. And I am pretty sure teachers want children to still use those mental health services, so we need to leave those alone.
Respectfully, and this sounds like a small concept. I mean, this is not, the place to adjudicate this, but since we're here, you cannot have everything be a number one priority, or else you have no priorities. Look at our agenda. The justifications for some of these expenses are like, but we have to do it. No, we don't have to do it. The first step to actually achieving your goals is to set a budget and then stay within your budget.
But an
So
example.
you know what, Bob? We're talking about the ed fund.
I know.
We're talking about the ed fund. So
It all matters because it's the same philosophy
And I
you use
understand
across
that.
all the buckets. So respectfully, I think the way we treat one fund is exactly how we're treating the other fund. And I think that it's all on display for everyone to see.
But some things jump up in there we have no control over. For instance, the sewer line and the damage to the floor.
Right, and then that's when you say something falls off.
Let me finish. And the track I think in the next year or so, or a really short period of time, it's gonna become dangerous to use. So that's a liability and you have no choice. So
I'm
we
not
have to
arguing that.
also keep those things in mind too.
I'm not arguing that. But when we budgeted for the track, it was just the resurfacing of the track. It was not the AstroTurf. It was nowhere on it did we ever discuss the softball field and the AstroTurfing the softball field. That was never part of the budget. We had $800,000. So yeah, it's, what I'm trying to say is it's a philosophy of how we treat the entire budget. We're talking about the ed fund and what the impact it's having on lives, but the same thing that we're talking about that's impacting people's lives over here is exactly how we're treating the operations and maintenance fund. So priorities shift when things pop up. We have a certain dollar amount. If we're going to set targets for what we want our fund balances to be, and when something pops up, we need to have a cold, hard look at, okay, what needs to come off? And that never happens. It's an argument every time that, oh, we got to fund it all. And then here we are. I'm done.
And I appreciate what you're saying, but how does that work right now with the ed fund?
I mean, I've already said, we cannot spend more than we take in. We're consternating over a decision that is still before us, and unfortunately, I don't know any other way with the numbers to do anything different than what we're talking about, unless we're signing on to lowering the ed fund continually for the next couple of years, because that'll what happened, and then we'll be back to 2016 again.
Right.
So I understand everybody's upset. I don't enjoy this. I take full responsibility, which is exactly why I fight so hard for a budget process, and I have yet to get it. If you look back at the minutes of this board for the last 5 years, we have never had a full-blown budgeting discussion until just this year. And miraculously, the first meeting we have about the budget and what's going on with it, then all of a sudden the revelation of what needs to happen. So that's the benefit. If we had done that earlier, if we'd done that sooner, if we'd done that consistently, and if I hear one more person say, well, that's not how it works in education, maybe it should. Now I'm done.
We have a motion on the floor. Is there any other discussion? We have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Brumback.
Yes.
Fund.
Yes.
Delariva.
No.
Sanderson.
No.
Patey.
Yes.
Ahart.
No.
Bertles.
Yes. Thank you. We will move on to 8.4.
It's recommended that the Board of Education approve a separation agreement with a certified employee. Matthew Parker.
Move to approve.
Second.
And any discussion? Please call the roll.
Sanderson.
Yes.
Ahart.
Yes.
Delariva.
Yes.
Brumback.
Yes.
Fund.
Yes.
Patey.
Yes.
Bertles.
Yes. Approval of action item 8.5. Yes, Dr. Sheldon, sorry.
Thank you. It's recommended that the Board of Education grant permission to Edwardsville High School to renew its membership in the Illinois High School Association for the 2025-2026 school year.
Move for approval.
Second.
Our computers are freezing up a little bit. Are you ready? I am. Okay. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Del Riva.
Yes.
Sanderson.
Yes.
Fund.
Yes.
Ahart.
Yes.
Patey.
Yes.
Brumback.
Yes.
Bertles.
Yes. Approval of action item 8.6. Dr. Shelton.
Thank you. It's recommended that the Board of Education approve the Edwardsville High School sanitary sewer lining project bid from Littleton Plumbing Company with a base bid of $56,825.
Move for approval.
Second.
And discussion?
So this is one of the situations where nobody wants their sewer line to break, and you fix it. It was not budgeted, but it has to happen. I agree.
And it damaged the floor, so the floor has to be replaced.
And just looking at the bids, there's a low and a high. There's a huge difference between the two. I'm not sure if there's an explanation of that or just.
Yes.
And
We
there
talked
might
about
have even been
facilities
more than
this
2
morning a
bids.
little bit.
Yeah.
We think there was a company that really wanted the bid, and they're a very reputable company. The middle bid is actually where we thought it would come in at, and we can't, with the high bid, we're not sure what happened.
And there's also a specific product that has to be used
Correct.
too, and one of the companies didn't have experience with that, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, they were just able to get in there and explore what the actual issue was,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they found what it is and how it can be corrected in a cost-effective manner and have longevity to it.
Yeah, is there a warranty or kind of an idea that how long, is there an idea of how long it will last when you said longevity?
Dave, do you remember
That's okay.
Do you remember the?
I mean, you'd
But
think
it better be
20
a lot.
I remember having a
years.
conversation about it, but I think Alex said 10 to 20 years.
20 years.
That's what I think. I mean, 'cause
Yeah.
it's
So essentially what it does is it puts almost a PVC lining on the inside of the cast iron pipe, so it functions like a PVC pipe. One of the issues that we had was grease buildup within the cast iron, and so this kind of eliminates that from being a concern. We also don't fry as much now.
And they are gonna leave the floor open until afterwards, just in case it turns out to be, they find something they don't expect.
And can you give us the timing on this?
Yeah, they'll do this project specifically over spring break in case they have to open up the slab.
And it should not affect once the kids come back from spring break.
Correct, that work will be done, they'll be putting in a gym floor at that point in time.
And this was not subject to an insurance claim because it was not the damage done to the floor. It was hard to prove where it was coming from, and they just wouldn't do. We may try again, but there was no exact.
I assume it's the original one when the building was built in late 1990s.
1996.
Yeah, we heard 30 years of grease.
Yep. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Please call the roll.
Sanderson.
Yes.
Fund.
Yes.
Del Riva.
Yes.
Brumback.
Yes.
Patey.
Yes.
Ahart.
Yes.
Bertles.
Yes. Approval of action item 8.7. Mr. Courtney
Thank you.
or Dr. Shelton?
You got it? Can we get it?
Yeah.
It's recommended that the Board of Education approve the purchasing cooperative contract pricing bid from Missouri Floor Company in the amount of $443,100 to replace the main gym floor at Edwardsville High School.
Move to approve.
Second.
And discussion? We just kind of covered it a little bit. Is there any other facts that we need to know? The gym will be not available the rest of this school year?
Correct.
But
Correct.
then
It'll be done early summer. And Dave, this is being paid for out of operation maintenance. We have Dave, what's the placeholder for ongoing maintenance that we have for projects like this?
Capital improvement line item in our budget every year.
Capital improvement?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're gonna do stain instead of paint because it is more long-term, and do you remember? I remember black on the outside, and they're making it less complicated. It sounded really nice, but I forgot the details.
It's gonna look really nice
Yeah.
Okay.
and cohesive.
More visual contrast.
What?
More visual contrast.
Yeah, because there's a lot of different orange and stuff, so anyway.
Please call the roll.
Fund.
Yes.
Sanderson.
Yes.
Del Riva.
Yes.
Brumback.
Yes.
Patey.
Yes.
Ahart.
Yes.
Birtles.
Yes. Approval of action item 8.8. Dr. Schell.
Thank you. It's recommended the Board of Education approve the Liberty Middle School food service equipment replacement bid from Stafford Smith in the amount of $127,919.
Move for approval.
Second.
And do we have discussion regarding this? Was this an expected
So this is
replacement?
planned replacement. We weren't expecting to replace everything on the list, but this equipment is failing, and it's 25 years old now, almost. So these are the items that will be replaced.
So they were original when the building
Yes.
was built?
Yes.
It's hard to believe that was 25 years ago, if that's, wow.
Well, we don't want to miss out on their meatloaf because that's my favorite.
I do think it's good.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Please call the roll.
Delariva.
Yes.
Brumback.
Yes.
Fund. Yes. Sanderson.
Yes.
Patey.
Yes.
Ahart.
Yes.
Birtles.
Yes. Next is approval of action item 8.9. Dr. Shelton.
Thank you. If my computer will catch up here. It's recommended the Board of Education approve the purchasing cooperative contract pricing bid from Vernon Jones in the base amount of $2,329,259 to replace the high school track, install a new synthetic turf field at the Winston Brown track, and install a new synthetic turf field at varsity softball.
Move for approval.
I'm going to second so we can have this discussion.
Okay. We've got a motion and a second. And what?
It's over budget.
Well, Scott brought up an issue this morning, and I didn't necessarily support it, but after hearing everything and I looked up some things, he suggested that I'll let you talk about it.
Well, I was just thinking, we can separate this bid. You can pull all the turf out. We can send it off to bid. There are other people that do this type of work, and in light of the stuff that we're doing and what we're asking, we owe everybody the due diligence of going out there and making sure we have the lowest possible bid on everything we put out there. As I said before, with every dollar that comes in, we have to scrutinize the dollars going out. I understand that the track was something that we budgeted for, and I don't have an issue in that. But when we're sitting here looking at adding things on without looking at a bid to where there's a possibility of finding something cheaper, better, whatever, just finding the lowest price, that's what we need to be doing.
But this is the lowest price because it's under the state contract.
I was going to say
Correct.
it's a state contract. So could you explain what a state contract
Sure.
means?
So each vendor works with a cooperative purchasing agreement, and Dave's much more familiar with these than I am, but essentially it's a set price. And we took a set price from each of the three vendors, and this is the lowest one from the vendor through the state cooperative purchasing price. I did follow up with them today, that we can separate the phases.
That's what I would like
And
to
the
see.
separating the phases doesn't affect the price of each phase. So if you choose to separate the phases, the phase one, which is the track and field combined, so I don't have those prices separated out, but that would be 1.536 million. So $1,536,088. And we had always planned to pay that out of 2 fiscal years. Dave, jump in here for budgeting purposes. So we have a set amount in the FY25 budget that is within the budget amounts, and then we have a set amount set aside planned for FY26.
So in the original proposal, was the infield and softball fields inclusive to the track?
When we talked about this in June at board retreat, we put both of them in the project at 2 separate costs, and we had 2 placeholders for them.
In the original proposal, was the infield and the softball fields inclusive to the track, not when we've talked about it later on, but when it was identified and we said we're going to replace this or resurface this. Were these other things included in that original?
So softball is a separate conversation, it's a separate project,
Right.
so done at separate times. When we looked at the track, we looked at either resodding the field after we put in new drainage systems or turfing the field after we put in new drainage systems.
So from day one, that was inclusive?
Correct, because we need to address the drainage issues with the track.
We talked about the drainage issues, but whether or not we were going to do sod or whatever, that was not part of the discussion, because when we were in the finance committee and coming up with the budget, the discussion was $800,000 for the track resurfacing. At no point was there discussion of resurfacing of the infield or anything. So, we've added on additional requirements past what we had budgeted for. And it's not been part of a discussion. I mean, you cannot go back and see that we have had an official discussion item with regard to the track and the infield and the softball field and the AstroTurf.
What is the field and track used for on a daily basis?
So track is obviously used for track, but I
Right.
think cross-country uses it as well, PE uses it as well. Same thing with the field on the inside of the track. That is not in great condition currently, and part of that is a drainage issue, part of that is just the field needs rest. It's not used by Little Tigers, it's used for practices every day, lacrosse, field hockey, soccer, also JV football.
I know the band's been out there before.
Band's been out there. Yep.
So what happens to each one of these if they're not taken care of at this point?
They just don't get done.
So, but the track, I know you guys talked about liability with that, so that means they couldn't use it?
They would not be able to help hold meets.
Okay.
Correct.
But it wouldn't be dangerous for our staff to run on, or our students to run on it?
You wouldn't be able to use lane 8
Oh, okay.
specifically. And then I would imagine over time, you're going to see more asphalt
Deteriorate.
issues deteriorate.
And what about the field?
Same thing. You're going to see more issues of use. The more you're on it, the more we have drainage issues. That's just going to be exacerbated over
And then
time.
what about the softball fields?
Softball fields have some grading issues that need to be corrected. They're certainly not in danger of play right now, but they definitely are something needs to be addressed at some point in time.
Because I would like to see the first two, and then the softball field pulled separately out of this for now, it's kind of what you talked about this morning.
I think that makes sense.
To see if we can, let's see where the budget goes, and if it becomes a point where we're pushed to do something, that's a different story, but we can delay it at this point.
That was,
A little bit.
that was something Scott mentioned this morning. So currently, the track project is scheduled to start June 1st. So that is if we don't approve it today, that work does not start June 1st, and that's going to
Right.
impact the use of the track. The softball field is not scheduled to start until September 19th after middle school softball season. So you do have more time to scrutinize that one as part of the phasing of the project.
So if we approve this in its entirety, then we basically are giving you the ability to schedule as necessary. We're giving you the authority to spend this money, but it's not saying that we're saying that you have to spend it all immediately in the summer of 2025.
Correct.
It just recognizes that these are 3 projects that we're going to do. And at any point that we are worried about the completion of the varsity softball field, we can come back and revisit it, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Can we clearly define when we're saying we can allocate the money that we're going to say it's for this part here and that part there? So that we can, when you're talking about turf, that doesn't have to be done when the track's being done. It can be done outside of
From what I understand, the drainage systems for sod versus the drainage systems for turf are 2 different. So when we were going down the process with our civil engineer, they were trying to look at both kinds of systems because we weren't sure which was going to be more cost effective. You'd be surprised the difference between turf and sod when it comes to as you're regrading and things like that. It's not always as as, it doesn't triple the cost, right? But it's the drainage system that you have to put in. One is specific to turf that doesn't necessarily work for sod.
So why don't we say we're going to set aside monies for projects? We go after the track as we decided before. We seek bids on anything associated with AstroTurf because we have time. You know, both on the infield and the softball field, so we got time.
So the turf on the infield would have to be done when the track's done. So the drainage, it's part of the same, whichever way you go, whether it's sod or turf.
And using sod though, the track, they can't be used for a long period of time, correct?
If you, they wouldn't be able to put sod down until the fall, so they would not put sod down in July and guarantee the sod's going to grow. So the sod would be down at fall, and they would ask that we spade and spend 6 months to a year off the sod. When we did this at Midway, we let it sit 4 months, but that was with K2 students playing outside, not students with cleats and things like that. But it depends on when they get it down and then just what kind of fall we have on how much it takes. But we would most likely lose that field for the fall season.
You have on here something to be done on summer of '26. What
Correct.
was that?
So we separated this into 3 different phases so that we could separate it into 3 different fiscal years so that we could stay within what we believe would be the allocated amount within each of those fiscal years. So each year, as part of our Operation Maintenance Fund, we designate a certain line item for capital improvement projects. And, you know, to Bob's point from earlier, if something large were to happen on the year that we have fiscal year 26, that project could get delayed or...
But what is the project for '26?
That would be the softball fields. For summer 26 is the summer
That's what I
26
wanted you to say.
is the structural spray on the track, so we withheld that for budget purposes, as well as the field events on the track. So all of those would not be done until the summer of 26, and that would extend some of that cost into that year.
So most of the athletic fields on both sides of the road, and well, I'll just say both sides of the road at the high school, have been done with money that's been donated rather than coming out of our budgets. Have we, maybe I can just say, can I put out a plea tonight, if anybody would like to deter some of these dollars and donate to the project, we are welcome, you know.
We are always
that's
very
what-
open, and they can contact my office. We have marketing plans, we have donation avenues for sure. Yes.
That would be awesome.
So
what are we doing? So I think the goal is to vote on this entire project and then for it to be, I think the goal is for us to vote on the entire project and then have the superintendent and the CFO roll it out at their discretion as far as what we budgeted for during the course of each year.
It's hard to
during each year.
I would like us to do the first 2 parts and pay for that maybe, and then do the third one if it's not going to change. I mean, I know the price might change because.
Okay, the first 2 parts is the track.
Field and the track.
Okay,
And
that's
then
all
the
one part.
softball field.
Summer of 2026.
Defer that, but if the budget allows, if funding allows. I don't want it, yes, we're doing it anyway because we don't know where our budget's going to be then.
Okay.
Or if we get to the point where it's starting to deteriorate a lot, then it can't put in the budget.
Does this lock us into a price though?
It would lock us into a price.
Yeah, that's the part I like. But I also don't want to take our O&M fund down too low.
I'm afraid to ask this question, but I'm going to. Do we need to be concerned about any Title IX impact?
That has been brought up.
That's what I'm afraid of. We just approved coaches for girls flag football. Where are they going to be playing that? Girls softball fields. While track is a...
That's why if you think back to a couple years ago, the softball field was higher on the list than the track. And because it wasn't a safety issue and the track became one, they kind of flipped spots. And so our goal was to be able to do both of them because we do want to address the needs. Understanding today the timing is horrible, and
Right,
I
that's the only
100% recognize that. This is also not something that's been in the works for 2 weeks. It's been something that's been in conversation for years, and certainly been worked on in the last 6 months daily.
Yeah, I think it needs to stay on the list of we've got to get it done. It just, let's watch things a little bit.
And I'm open to other, if you'd like to make another motion, I'm open to going back to the company. I'm going back to seeing if we can phase it differently, whatever the board would like to. But I know these are both things that need to be addressed at some point in time within the budget constraints that we have.
There's a motion on the table.
Correct.
Right.
To take it as it is.
We don't, I'm sorry, are you done?
We will have to vote on that motion first.
Right. We don't normally do motions at our work sessions, which would be the first meeting, or the second Monday of April.
First Monday of April, because it's
First
spring
Monday.
break.
Okay.
April 7th.
That's over spring break?
It's before spring break.
Before,
Mhm.
okay. But if we would vote to table this, and you have a chance to divide these up, and then we could bring it back, would that still give us time, give them time to work on get the track started at when they need to start?
May I make a suggestion?
Uh-huh.
So we already have a motion on the table.
Mhm.
If we know we want to change it, let's just go ahead and vote, get it over with, and then come back in 2 weeks with another motion if you come up with a better package that we can all agree works.
Okay.
But, I mean, the motion's on the table.
Let's
Right.
put it to a vote.
Right.
Can I answer your question first?
Yes.
I did ask if the question, I did not ask about 2 weeks. I asked if we waited until the regular meeting in April because of the size of the expense. And to start the work June 1st, they need a commitment from the district that we are doing the track and something in June. So they would need that commitment. And I told them I'm not going to sign that letter of intent without the board's approval. So.
And what's the date they need that by?
Well, I proposed that we wait until I asked what the impact of waiting until the April regular meeting. I did not ask about April 7th. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say if they want our business, they're going to wait till April 7th if that's what the board says we need to do.
Okay.
In light of current events that are driving a lot of things, they will need to be a little more, conciliatory on these type of things.
Yep.
It would be irresponsible for us to just charge headfirst into this without, asking all the right questions.
Sure.
That's just my opinion.
So we have a motion on the table, and we've got a second, so please call the roll.
Delariva.
Yes.
Sanderson.
No.
Brumback.
No.
Fund. No. Patey.
No.
Ahart.
No.
Birtles.
No. So at this time, we will,
Can I ask for, real quickly, you want that back in different pricing and phases at the April work session? That's what I heard. I just want to clarify.
Yes, please.
And see if
But to
there's,
clarify as well, the PDF already has the phases and pricings on there.
Yes, it does.
Yes, but I can
So-
separate turf and track
Okay.
separately. I
So
can
we
separate
vote
sod
separately.
and track separately, just so you
Yes.
have that information as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
at this time, we have action 8.10 on the floor, and I would like to move to table action 8.10. Do I have a second?
Second.
And any discussion? Just for clarification, 8.10 was to approve the purchase property pending final building inspection located at 1186 South State 157 in Edwardsville. We have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Birtles.
Yes.
Patey.
Yes.
Delariva.
Yes.
Brumback.
Yes.
Fund. Yes. Sanderson.
Yes.
Ahart.
yes.
And our next action item is 8.11. Dr. Shelton.
Thank you. It's recommended that the Board of Education approve a resolution to move forward with the planning for a two-tier transportation system. And I'm going to mess up this action because we've actually changed the resolution. So if it's okay with the board, I'm going to go to the resolution and give you a different recommendation. Recommend the Board of Education approve the resolution to further investigate strategies for improving transportation efficiency, to move forward with planning a 7-period day, and to conduct a thorough review of school start times, including benefits of later school start times in alignment with best practices in research, and engage students, parents, educators, transportation professionals, and community members in discussions about adjustments in start times and transportation systems. It's a long motion, but that's the motion.
Okay.
Move to approve.
Second.
And is there discussion?
I would like to see the same process happen with this, that the district went forward with the strategic plan. The level of community and stakeholder involvement, I think, was spot on.
Yeah.
And this needs that same kind of attention.
So earlier in my comments, I talked about why and what, but not how, right? And so the plan is to currently develop action teams, and those action teams would include stakeholders from impacted groups to look at the areas that would be impacted by a change in fill in the blank, transportation, school start times, 7-period day. Identify what concerns, challenges, barriers are there and come up with solutions to those. And then in the fall, have informational Q&As at every single building. So 13 of them where we would provide updates and information to the community, take more questions, hear more concerns, and along the way give quarterly updates to the board as we go through the process.
What's the plan if you go through this process next year and the barriers are bigger than what you anticipate?
So that would either change the outcome or delay the implementation, one of the two.
Okay, so those are still on the table.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So I think from my perspective, I want to talk about just how the resolution is written, because I know not everybody probably has read it. But it was very important to me, particularly going through the survey process. I felt like it was important that the community not feel that we're hemming them into a specific decision. That this is written in such a way that we don't know what the outcome's going to be. But it's important enough for us to actually look at and understand what our options are, and then come back later and figure out what direction to go to. I think that's much better for those people who have experienced the middle school curriculum implementation process, where the decisions seemed to be made up front and then everybody had to make it work. I feel like this is a much better direction, and I would like to echo kind of what Jen said, that I think something that involves a much broader stakeholder engagement. It's too big to not just have the community feel like it's being ramrodded down their throat.
And this has been, the administration has had 2 or 3 years worth of work, research in, a combination of all of these 3 different things. And so it is acknowledging that they have done some narrowing down of options. And so we're just basically giving the administration our support that says, yes, we like the direction that you're going, but we need to hear a lot more before any decisions are approved by the board.
I did want to add that I went ahead and looked at the transportation budget, and for this past year, we started out with approximately $3 million, and then we are going to end it with about $2.1 million. So we're spending down transportation. We're really starting, that's something else that we're really working with. And so when I look at that in context, I think it's very important that we need to take a look at all 3 of these things as part of it. But transportation, we need to come up with some solutions for that.
We have a motion and a second. Can you please call the roll?
Sanderson.
Yes.
Brumback.
Yes.
Delariva.
Yes.
Fund.
Yes.
Patey.
Yes.
Ahart.
Yes.
Burdos.
Yes. That is the end of our action items. Are there any board members who would wish to share brief announcements at this time? I have one, and I'm going to probably overspeak a little bit, but next week is the high school play, and I'm not sure, oftentimes it's sold out before this point. I don't know if there's any tickets left, and I don't know if there's anyone that has that knowledge, but if not, you might want to contact the high school and get your play tickets, because it's always a well-performed show for everyone to enjoy. With no further business, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you for spending your evening with us.